Muscles of the torso: Pectoralis Major, Pectoralis Minor, Rectus Abdominus, External Oblique, Internal Oblique, External Intercostal, Serratus Anterior, Trapezius, Teres Major, Erector Spinae, Latissimus Dorsi.
Hi, my name is Nelson Bennet, and I'm a professor here at Montgomery College in Tacoma Park. Today we're going to be studying the muscles that move the trunk, the scapulae, and the arm. And most of these muscles can be found in and around the torso of our model. So let's start with the largest muscles first. Over here on this side of the model we have superficial muscles, and over here we have deep muscles. This large superficial muscle that we see here on the chest is called the Pectoralis Major, and this muscle would be mainly responsible for getting your arm in the extended position as if you're doing push-ups or a bench press. On the other side of the torso model over here we have the Pectoralis Minor. This is a small muscle that has really nothing to do with moving the arm. Instead, its job is to pull the scapula forward, or the shoulder blade forward. So this is the Pectoralis Minor. Don't confuse the names of the muscles with their actions. Just because a muscle has a similar name does not mean it does the same thing. So Pectoralis Major extends the arm, and Pectoralis Minor pulls the shoulder blade forward or protracts it. Other muscles we can see on the front of this torso model would include the Rectus Abdominus. The Rectus Abdominus is one of the main muscles that helps you to flex your trunk as if when you're bending over. When people work this muscle out, it'll give the six-pack appearance because of the connective tissues that tend to divide the muscle into various parts. Right next door to it, running at an oblique angle, we have the external oblique muscle right here. This muscle runs at an angle to the rectus abdominis. This muscle can also help you to flex the trunk as if when you're bending over. But if you use just this muscle on one side of your body, it'll help you to rotate the trunk or to turn your trunk. A little bit difficult to see here, but you can still see between the ribs we have these little muscles here running at an oblique angle this way. On the outside, these muscles would be called the external intercostals, and they're used to expand the rib cage when you're inhaling. And so these muscles would be some of the main muscles for inspiration, or used when you're breathing. Moving around just a little bit to the side of the model, we see these muscles over here. These are called the serratus anterior muscles. And you can also see them on the other side of the model, but a little bit more superficially. Right here are the serratus anteriors. They have a jagged edge on the front. These muscles also attach to the scapula, and they help to push the scapula forward and stabilize it when you're throwing a punch or when you're boxing. So sometimes they refer to this as the boxer's muscle. So the serratus anterior and the Pectoralis Minor both have a similar function in that they help pull the scapula forward. This one pulls it, this one stabilizes it. So I think that pretty much takes care of the muscles that we can see on the front of this particular torso model. So if we rotate the model to the back, we can look at some of the larger muscles that are visible there. We can see a few of them peeking out. Even though there's a few muscles missing here on the back because it's open, we can still see traces of this large wing-shaped muscle here, which is called the Latissimus Dorsi. The Latissimus Dorsi helps to pull your arm down towards the midline, which is essentially adducting the arm, but it also helps you to extend the arm. And right above it, a little bit difficult to see here, we have the teres major. So the latissimus dorsi and the teres major both help to adduct the arm and to extend it. We see a little piece here of the trapezius muscle. The trapezius muscle is a diamond-shaped muscle. Up here we have the top part of the trapezius muscle. As you can see, this muscle is attached to the spine of the scapula here. And the trapezius muscle, at least the top part of it, we can't see too much of the bottom part of it, helps to elevate the scapula as you would do when you're shrugging your shoulders. To see the rest of the muscles on the torso, we're going to have to switch to a different model. So here we have our second model where we can review some of the same muscles we just saw with the bigger model. On the back, we can actually see the trapezius much more clearly now, or we see one half of it because this side of the model is superficial. These are deep, so the trapezius muscle is missing from this side. But you can see it makes a nice diamond shape. As I mentioned before, the top part of the trapezius muscle helps you to elevate your scapula as if when you're struggling. The rest of the trapezius, which is under the scapula, will help to either pull the scapula together in the back or depress the scapula. Trapezius muscle. On the previous model, we also saw the latissimus dorsi muscle. Again, it's visible here on this side of the model. Latissimus dorsi. And just above it, we can see the teres major. On this side of the model, we see some deep muscles that we haven't mentioned yet. These really deep muscles, which are peeking out here, actually extend up and down most of the spine. They tend to be concealed down here. These are very, very important postural muscles. It's actually a group of muscles, but together they're called the Erector Spinae, and they help you to extend your spine as if when you're standing back up after having bent yourself over. So the Erector Spinae is a group of muscles here, peeking out from the middle, and they help you to erect the spine or to extend the spine as if when you're standing up. To review some of the muscles we saw on the larger torso model here in the front, on the right side of the model we see the large pectoralis major muscle, very large, powerful muscle, which helps you to extend your arm. On the opposite side we see the deep pectoralis minor muscle, which helps you to pull your scapula forward. We can see the jagged edge of the serratus anterior muscle here, which also helps to pull the scapula forward and stabilizes it, as if when you're throwing a punch. We can see the rectus abdominus muscle here. This is a single muscle, although it looks like it's divided into different compartments. Those are just connective tissues dividing it, but it's really one muscle. The rectus abdominus actually helps you to flex your spine as if when you're bending over to pick something up. So if you bend over to pick something up, you're using your rectus abdominus here. Just to the side of that, we can see over here the external oblique muscles. These external oblique muscles can also help you to flex your spine, but they can also help you to rotate the trunk as if when you're twisting yourself. And let's see, I think that pretty much takes care of the muscles of the torso. Pectoralis Major, Pectoralis Minor, Rectus Abdominus, External Oblique, External Intercostal, Internal Oblique. Pectoralis Major, Serratus Anterior, Rectus Abdominus, External Oblique. Trapezius, Pectoralis Major, Erector Spinae, Latissimus Dorsi, Pectoralis Major, Serratus Anterior, External Intercostal, Pectoralis Major, Pectoralis Minor, Rectus Abdominus, External Oblique, External Intercostal, Pectoralis Major, Serratus Anterior, External Oblique, Rectus Abdominus, Trapezius, Pectoralis Major, Latissimus Dorsi, Erector Spinae, Rectus Abdominus, Internal Oblique, Trapezius, Erector Spinae, Latissimus Dorsi, External Oblique, Serratus Anterior, External Intercostal,
Muscles of the torso. Pectoralis Major. Pectoralis Minor. Rectus Abdominus. External Oblique. Internal Oblique. External Intercostal. Serratus Anterior. Trapezius. Pectoralis Major. Erector Spinae. Latissimus Dorsi.